So I think you have to look back on your relationship with money since you're 5 or 6. We wake up to the reality of the world when we're around 5, 6, 7. Like we are waking up to the reality when we are small. And then since then, we've had so many negative messages around money. When you start thinking, you must have some fun memories too around money. You know, a certain gift that you're so happy to receive, and the scholarship, or the happy money that you get from your grandparents or your parents or friend. You know, they buy you for Christmas gift or birthday present. There is so much happy money in your life, but you forget because we are so overwhelmed by the stress around money. Because we feel so unworthy for the abundance. So it doesn't really matter how much money you make or how much money you have. After paying all the bills, you don't have much money left. If you make $30,000 or $100,000 or $1 million, because the cost is going higher.
Your lifestyle.
Yes. Right. And you used to have one car, second-hand car. Now you need Tesla, you know, and you need second home and third home. So you really have to see how to satisfy with yourself with less.
Yes.
And at the same time, you can have more. So you can have more than necessary. But the food prices are going up and the gas prices are going up. So we're almost like drowning in the sea of bills.
Yes.
And then they're just, you know, going up. And then we are drowning in that.
Right.
So instead of feeling that or overwhelmed by the bills, you can be creative and come up with the ideas that you can contribute to the world. So by doing more contribution, you get more money. So if you are more creative about serving the world, serving other people with your gifts, with who you are, you can create the flow of happy money. And as a result, you can receive more money. And if you can control this greed in you, that I need to have more, it's almost like you're brainwashed by marketing techniques. And even though you're wealthy, you keep complaining about how much you don't have. Once I had an interview with a private jet owner, and I thought, you're such a big success. And he said, no, I'm just a small thing. Because when I pull over to this special terminal,
it's a bigger jet.
There's a lot bigger jets, and mine is so small. You know, it's only 6 people, so I feel so small when I pull over with my Mercedes because they're just Rolls Royce and all the big cars, and then I feel so small. So you have to ask yourself, when is enough? How much is enough? That's when my Zen teaching comes in. You have to know who you are, and you have to know the right money container size. I think we're born with a certain money container size.
Really? What does that mean?
And say some people are not equipped with so much money, and you don't need so much money. So you can be satisfied with less. Like say if you're a school teacher, you don't need to have 3 Mercedes-Benz. And you don't need to live in a big mansion. So if you feel like, oh, I don't need to make that much money, I know how to satisfy myself, and you can do that. Yeah, so instead of just going pursuing wealth, you can find invisible assets, which I also teach about. I haven't really taught in English yet, but there are visible assets and invisible assets. And in fact, invisible assets are super more important than visible assets, like friendship, trust, happiness, love, generosity, kindness. All the great things in life are invisible, but yet people can feel it. You know, if you bump into somebody and if he or she is so kind, you feel it.
Yes.
So unfortunately, generosity and kindness are not regarded as a great thing. But I mean, in North America, I've seen news that people just, do something right, and then they turn their wallets to the owner, and they're happy stories. So people still respect.
Yes.
Honesty is another one. So there are so many great assets that we have. But when we look at our lives, we evaluate to zero. So even though you have not much in your bank account, if you have so many friends, and if you have so many people that you care about you're in heaven.
Yes.
But you look at your bank account, and then if it's a small number, you get depressed.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to look at invisible assets, and you should be happy. Yeah. Yes, and talking about invisible assets and generosity, I so want to show my appreciation to American people. 30 years ago, 30-some years ago, I was 19, and I made up my mind to explore this kindness factor in North America. And I came here without much money, and I tried to have a one-year experiment.
Really?
Depending on generosity of American people. Bump into, like, say, an old man in the park, and then I ask him, is there any restaurant that I can eat for at the very, very, no money? And he said, okay, I'll take you there. And they pay for my dinner. And if you don't have any place, why don't you stay with me? So for a whole year in 1987, I depended on American people's generosity. And after 1 year, I had the same amount of bank account money, and then I could go back.
Wow.
And I've been writing, my experiences of that, and it's a national bestseller as well. So America is so generous, and I think people may not feel because you're living here. So I really believe in American people's generosity and openness. Some people just let me stay as long as I wanted.
Wow.
Yeah. So I still feel like I owe America a lot. Like say some scholars, who are not interested in money at all. They focus on their research and what they can do academically. So their money container is small, but they're okay.
Right.
I call them money indifferent type, by the way. Government workers like politicians or nurses, I see them among those occupations who are giver, who are just service people, right? And like some military people who are really into service, and then they don't really care how much they have, as long as they can make a living.
Right.
So those people are born with small ones, and of course, by learning about business and investment, you can make your money container bigger.
Right.
But there's a little bit of a difference here when you want to grow your money container, because in North America and Europe, I often get asked by interviewers, Ken, how can I make my container bigger?
Right.
But in Japan, in the East, I get different kind of question about money container. The question would be, Ken, how can I be satisfied with what I have instead of just trying to make it bigger? But I don't know how to do that. So can you teach me how to satisfy myself with where I am? So it's a different approach. So you need to have both. So it's more about find 100% fulfillment with where you are. And then if it's your path, it's going to grow. If it's not your path, you don't have to make it grow. But there's almost like a religion here in North America. Bigger is better. The more is better. I think, just wait a second and just think about it. Do you want a super big house if you're only 2 of you? If you have like 7 kids, you need a big house. But if it's only 2 of you, maybe it's time to downsize, and because so that way your lifestyle will be more humble. So you really have to know when to sort of like grow, and also when to end your life. So you have to start facing, say you're in your 50s or 60s, you have 10 years to prepare approaching to your death. But a lot of people in the 60s and 70s, they want to act forever they're 21. So you have to prepare for the end of your life. To do that, you really have to say, because your life goes up and down, right? You cannot keep climbing up the mountains. So at some point, you have to start descending. So in financial terms, you have to start spending what you have accumulated.